Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome back to the Dice Tower Winter Spectacular. Yes, earlier we talked about our top 10 games of 2020. I talked earlier about my top 10 reprints and stuff. And it's not enough. I need to tell you more because there are some games that I really want to talk about but just didn't make those lists. So here are 10 more great games of 2020. So you can say these are kind of 11 through 20, but that's not counting the reprints. Anyway, it doesn't matter. These are 10 more great games, and I want to talk about them. Number 10, Truffle Shuffle. A small game, not getting a ton of buzz, but it's made from the same people who made the point salad game last year. This one here, a drafting style game where you're collecting different candies and trying to get groups of them. It has shades of Uno in it, of all things, but it works fantastic. It has drafting in it. It has a theme. I mean, Truffle Shuffle. And if you play it after point salad, it's healthy for you. Just a fun little game that I think should get more buzz. Number 9 is Paris. This is from Kramer and Kiesling, one of the strongest duo of designers in board gaming history. They've made fantastic games, and they've been making them for years. Heard of Tikal? Well, this year we have Paris. And when I pulled out Paris, it looked a little complex, but it's not. Like most of their games, unlike many Eurogamers designers who tend to go more complex, these guys are very simple. You're putting out a building, and you're essentially then placing a worker or a key in a section of a city, moving those keys up and moving along a bonus track. There's not much more to the game, but it feels more in depth than that. The game offers a lot of cool things that you can do, and each game's going to play differently with not too many rules involved. They just do a great job in Paris. Number 8 is Almanac: The Dragon Road. I don't know what it is about me and games that flip through a book, but that's what Almanac Dragon Road is. It is a worker placement game where you're going through a book. There are 17 different pages. You're only going to go through 6 of those in any given game. Each page, you're placing workers out, collecting resources, turning those resources into complete missions. Very basic worker placement stuff, except each page is different, has different rules on how to place the workers on it. And there's a story in the background, and whoever wins an auction at the end of each page gets to decide which of 2 pages you go to next. This ties the game together and makes it feel like a unique, fun experience. That's Almanac: The Dragon Road. Number 7 is Cosmic Colonies. I know there's a lot of polyomino games out there at this point in time. And so a lot of them just don't get talked about very much. Cosmic Colonies, though, is one of the simpler ones in this genre, but it's fun. You're just trying to fill in a spot in front of you, like many of these games. Your little planet with these different tiles covering up as much as you can. But you do so by playing different workers from your hand. But these workers, some of them are clearly better than others, but every time you play one, you're passing it on to the next person. So you could hold on to one and never use it, but then you don't get it either. And so it has a very simple system. It's very clean. It doesn't necessarily offer anything really unique except for those passing of cards, but it does so in a wonderfully streamlined way, making this one of the best polyomino games that there is. Although my number 6 is also a polyomino game, and that's New York Zoo. New York Zoo from Uwe Rosenberg, who has done many polyomino games, and I think this is the best of his. New York Zoo, you have a zoo, which is a fun theme, and you're building your own zoo, and you're just trying, again, to fill it up with tiles. But you do so by breeding animals, which, if you fill up a whole area, give you the chance to put out more tiles and bonus tiles and finish faster than other people. So it's a race. It's very meaty and thoughtful in your head, although the rules are not that complex. I like it. Also, a gorgeous production. The whole thing is really neat. I love animals anyway. I love polyominoes. I love little animal meeples. I like zoos. I like Uwe Rosenberg. I like this game. Then we have number 5, The Lost Ruins of Arnak. Deck building and worker placement. Well, as you can see, Dune also does that, Dune Imperium, and that made my top 10. But this one is also really quite good. A lot of people ask me to compare the two of them. I don't think they're very similar other than that they use the same 2 mechanisms, main mechanisms. But other than that, they're very different. This one here is about exploration, about collecting points, and doing point salad-y type things. Essentially, try to get as many points, move up a technology track, get resources, turn them in for points, and I like it. It's really neat. Every game's going to be different because of the cards that come out at the top and the different places you discover. It's like a worker placement game, but you are slowly creating the spots to go to. I think that's a lot of fun. It's also beautiful. I mentioned this on another list. Just gorgeous game. CG still got it with Lost Ruins of Arnak. Number 4 is Project L. Project L is so simple that some people are probably, it's not going to be mentioned in a lot of top 10 lists because all it is collecting little Tetris pieces, upgrading them into better Tetris pieces, and filling in boards. But it's an efficiency exercise. It's an engine building game that is possibly one of the simplest ones out there. The production doesn't hurt it at all. But the ease of me getting other people to play it and the joy and the feel of putting those plastic pieces onto these cards is just great. This is one of those games I bring out and I'm like, wow. Not only is this fantastic for new people getting into gaming, but this is something that people who are already heavy gamers will also enjoy. I see this one probably still being talked about and played in 10 years. Number 3 is Santorini, New York. Now, I kind of laughed about this game when I first heard about it because how can Santorini, New York be it? Well, it's another game in the Santorini line. Now, this one is not on my reprints list, actually, because Santorini, New York there's some similarities to Santorini. It actually has the same wind condition, sort of, but it's a very different game. It is a game that plays well with more than 2 people. It is a game that has it's a different feel. You're going to play a card each turn. The numerical order, you move your pieces on the board, but they also give special powers. But you can only win if you play the highest number on any particular turn. This is just such a thinky, interesting game. And when you play it, you're like, I can see the roots in Santorini, but it feels different. Gorgeous pieces, neat game, very, very cool. Number 2 is Tekhenu, Obelisk of the Sun. Now this is in the T series, I call them, starting with Zulkan and many different games in this series. In fact, 2 of them came out this year. Tawantasuyu is another one, but Tekhenu is the one I enjoy. Now when I first read the description, they're like, there's a shadow of the obelisk, and I was like, oh my, an actual shadow. Well, there's no actual shadow, but there is a pseudo shadow that moves around, and it's a dice drafting game, which I tend to like, but when you draft a die, depending on where it is in the shadow, etc., will determine what that die lets you do. This is another point stout game. There's a lot of different ways to score points. There's technology, which is really awesome. This is one I think that's growing on me. It does not have you make a ton of choices over the course of the game, but those choices are strong and meaty choices, and I think this is a fantastic game. And my number 1 of 10 more great games, and this is the one that I almost was teary-eyed at it just missing my top 10 games, and that's Aetherfields. Aetherfields is easily one of the biggest releases of the year. It's one of the biggest Kickstarters of all time from Awakened Realms. Aetherfields, a game in which you are cooperatively going into multiple dreams using again, a deck building mechanism of sorts to use cards and go around and fight creatures and interact with things. It's a huge game. I'm nowhere close to completing it, but I've had so much fun. The production value is off the charts, but the interest and the story and everything. Awakened Realms just uses a fire hose when it comes to putting content and cool stuff into their games. And this one here is no exception. It's just amazing. So again, I felt bad about cutting it from my top 10, but it's number 11 for sure. Great games. So these are 10 more great games that didn't make my other list, but don't let that dissuade you. They're fantastic, and you should check each and every one of them out. Well, there you go. We'll continue on. More stuff coming in our Winter Spectacular. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.